What's up, guys? Today we have a little bit of a special video. Square Enix sent us some Final Fantasy TCG Opus VIII cards, and you can actually pick up some of these cards now. The starter decks for Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy XIV released on March 16th, and then you'll be able to pick up the booster packs on March 22nd. So we're gonna unbox these, show you what you can get inside, and give you a little look at the game. Alright, so this is the Final Fantasy VII deck, and we'll go through the 50 cards that come in the deck. So you get some Tifa cards, you get about 3, and those are like the front cards on the deck, so that's what you'll see on the box. And then obviously you get some Cloud, and that's his Final Fantasy VII Remake artwork, so that's pretty cool. Barret card. Vincent, who is my favorite character in Final Fantasy VII. Get 2 of him. Get some random WRO members. I literally don't really remember these people at all. Alright. And then we get Evoker, and I believe that says Final Fantasy II, but I haven't played many of the old ones, so I'm not totally sure that is. Oh no, that is Final Fantasy III, so Final Fantasy III. More of these WRO members. And then a Geomancer, and that is from Final Fantasy V. You can kind of tell by the artwork. And then this random girl named Marlene, who I literally don't remember at all. I think Marlene might have been early on in Final Fantasy VII, but it's been a while since I played it, so. And then obviously we got Titan, and this is apparently artwork from Mobius Final Fantasy, but Titan is also from multiple other Final Fantasy games, but you know, they take up different artwork and styles and you know, whatnot. So you get 2 of him. And then obviously another character from Final Fantasy VII, you got Yuffie. And then another really awesome character from Final Fantasy VII, you have Red 13. And then this guy's artwork is pretty funny, it's Godo, who looks strangely different from a lot of the other cards. But then we have a Chocobo with Cloud on it, some really cool artwork. Another Chocobo. And then Sid, who if you're a Final Fantasy fan, you'll know, you know, Sid appears throughout most of the Final Fantasy games, and this is his Final Fantasy VII artwork, so that's really cool. Then we have Aerith, another really awesome character from Final Fantasy VII. Fortunately, he doesn't survive the game. And then Evoker again from Final Fantasy III, I believe. Then we got White Mage from Final Fantasy Tactics, and you can definitely point out that art style, it's really cool. And then we have a Chocobo and a Moogle? I might be saying that wrong, but more really cool artwork. And then Alexander, another summon from Final Fantasy, and I believe this is his Mobius Final Fantasy artwork. You get 2 of him, and he looks really awesome. So yeah, that is the Final Fantasy VII deck, if you're interested in that. So this is the Final Fantasy XIV starter deck, and I am not super familiar with the Final Fantasy XIV storyline. I did play the game for a long time, but I didn't really pay much attention to the narrative, so if I get any of these names wrong, please don't be mad at me. I'm going to try my best. This is Lise, or Lise, I guess, and you get a couple of her. And then we have, oh god, this is a tough one, Hien? This might all be from Stormblood, I'm not totally sure. I did not play Stormblood, so again, go easy on me. You get a couple of them. Oh boy, all of these names are really fun. Gosetsu, another Final Fantasy XIV character, you can definitely point it out by the artwork, you know. Get a couple of him. Get a Marauder, Final Fantasy XIV artwork. Very cool. And then we got the classic warrior. And then a samurai, another Stormblood themed card. And then a warrior. And then Evoker. I believe that's another Final Fantasy 2 or 3. I think 3. Red Mage. That's a really cool looking card. Yotsuyu. Another Final Fantasy 14 card. Looks really cool. Bahamut. And this is some really interesting artwork. Definitely doesn't look like the Bahamut you'd expect, but oh, this is Theta Rhythm actually, so it's a little bit more cartoony Final Fantasy game. And then we have a really cool looking Bahamut card from Dissidia Final Fantasy. I'm guessing the newer one. And then we have Fordola. And you can kind of tell the Final Fantasy 14 cards part by the way like the artwork looks. Then Yogiri. Thancred, who is kind of a fun. I remember Thancred. Thancred's early introduced in the original vanilla story of Final Fantasy, so he's pretty easy to remember. And then a Dragoon. This is the class that I played when I played Final Fantasy 14. And then different artwork. Alphanod, and he's also from early on in the Final Fantasy XIV lore and story, or at least A Realm Reborn. I didn't play the original 14. We have a Summoner from Final Fantasy Tactics. Again, you can kind of tell from that artwork. We got a Black Mage, Alisai, Final Fantasy XIV character. Ramu, and that artwork is really cool, from Dissidia Final Fantasy. And yeah, that is the Final Fantasy XIV deck. Again, you'll get 50 cards out of each deck, and now we can break into these packs, so let's do that. So the cool thing about Opus VIII is that it includes cards from Final Fantasy Brave Exvius for the first time, as well as cards from Final Fantasy XV. So we'll probably expect to see a couple of characters from those games in a bit. I did play Brave Exvius for a little bit, but I'm not super familiar, again, with a lot of the characters. But I do recognize the two main characters. But I'm definitely more familiar with Final Fantasy XV. So let's jump into them. I've separated each one into separate packs. I've already opened them, so you didn't have to watch me do that. And each one will kind of give you an idea of what you can get. So let's jump in. Good. So here we have Black Mage from Final Fantasy XIV again. Lael from Dissidia Final Fantasy. Or artwork from Dissidia Final Fantasy. It looks like the mobile game artwork, though. Okay, and then Bard from Final Fantasy XIV. Red Mage again. Fairy from Final Fantasy Tactics. Basilisk, looks like Final Fantasy IX. Another Dragoon. Love Dragoons. Norshdalen. And I think that is Final Fantasy... It's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I have not played that one yet, but I am looking forward to the remaster so I can try it out for myself. And this is Kina. Final Fantasy... Oh, that is Final Fantasy IX. Got it. Peruru. Oh, geez. I think that's Final Fantasy XI. That's some really cool artwork. That is Mobius Final Fantasy. And that is a really cool looking card. But yeah. Matoya. And that is from Final Fantasy... What does that say? Final Fantasy Legends. Okay, I have not played that one. Sounds like I haven't played a lot of them, but I have played a lot of them. So... Alright, now we're on to the second pack, and we have Garnet from Final Fantasy IX. Umaro from Final Fantasy VI. Oh, that's a cool card. Dark Knight from Final Fantasy XIV. Selkie from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Oh, and that's a really cool card. The Onion Knight with Dissidia Final Fantasy artwork. And then we have Alisai again, Final Fantasy XIV. I got her in the deck before. And then we have Black Mage from Final Fantasy XI, and that's really weird how they have like the actual in-game like art or graphics. And then we have a Hollow Dragoon, so that's pretty cool. Final Fantasy XIV. And then we have oh, that's a really cool Bahamut artwork. It's actually the same artwork that the packs are, so that's really cool. And then Marche from Final Fantasy Tactics Adventure, I think? I've not played that one. I've only played the first Final Fantasy Tactics. But that is really cool artwork. And now we have Aiko from Final Fantasy IX. And then we have Scale Toad from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Alright. Alright, and now we are on to our third pack. And to start, we have Titan. Final Fantasy XI artwork. Then we have another warrior from Final Fantasy XIV. And then we have Waltrill. That's Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. And then we have Cid from Final Fantasy Legends. Okay, and then we have Chaos Walker of the Wheel. And that is from Final Fantasy XII. And then we have Alisai again. And we have Leviathan, who's a very cool summon from Final Fantasy, and this looks like Final Fantasy XI artwork. And then we have Laswell, and Laswell is one of the main characters in the mobile game Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, so that is some really cool artwork, and it's a hollow, if you can tell. And then we have Garland from Final Fantasy IX. And we have Archangel TT, and that is from Final Fantasy XI artwork. Another Alexander card. And then a Death Machine from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Alright, now we are on the fourth pack of cards, and we have Garuda, Final Fantasy XI artwork. We have Shiva, Final Fantasy XI artwork again. We're getting a lot of summons here. We have Ifrit, and that's from Final Fantasy XI. We have Lancer Unit, Final Fantasy XII, or is that 13? 13. It's been a while since I played 13. Then we have Setzer from Final Fantasy VI. We have Sabin from Final Fantasy VI. Oh, this is really cool. We have an Archer from Final Fantasy Tactics. We have Madine. I believe that is Final Fantasy IX artwork. And this is a really, really pretty card. Very nice. And we have Alba from Final Fantasy Legends. This artwork looks really different from the rest. We have Archangel HM, and that's Final Fantasy XI. We have another Aiko card, Final Fantasy IX. And then Celeste from Final Fantasy VI. Right now we have two more packs, so let's jump into them. We have Fina from Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. We have Realm, Final Fantasy VI. We have an Astrologian from Final Fantasy XIV. We have, oh gosh, how do you say this? I forget how to say this. Hecton Share? It's Final Fantasy XIII, but you can kind of tell because Vanille is on it. I don't remember how to say that though. We have Sophia, Final Fantasy Legends. That's some cool artwork. Ooh, and then we have a Black Mage from Final Fantasy Tactics A. Advance, I think. Or Adventure. It's one of the two, but can't look it up right now. So, Black Mage, but that is some really cool Black Mage artwork right there. We have a White Mage from Final Fantasy XIV. And we have Sophia from Final Fantasy Legends. Another with Laswell card, except not shiny, so not as cool. Then we have an Alexander from Final Fantasy IX. And then we just have a regular, Archangel EV, and that's also from Final Fantasy XI. And then we have a Coxitus Final Fantasy Legends. I have not played Legends, but Final Fantasy Legends card. And now we are on to the last pack, and we have Mateus the Corrupt from Final Fantasy XII. Then we have Electric Jellyfish from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. We have a Moogle Knight. That's a really, really cool looking card from Final Fantasy Tactics Advanced. We have a Summoner from Final Fantasy XIV. Another Alphanod card. We have a Thief from Final Fantasy XI. Machinist, a Machinist, Final Fantasy XIV, one of the classes that you can pick. Then we have a Reno card from Final Fantasy VII. That is some cool holographic artwork right there. Warrior of Light card, which is really cool, Final Fantasy I character. We have a Death Gaze from Final Fantasy IX. Jinai from Final Fantasy Legends. Archangel GK from Final Fantasy XI again. So yeah, those are all of our packs. And so we have a little bonus here. This is two Dissidia Final Fantasy based decks. It's Heroes and Villains. This is already available actually, so you can go buy this one right now, but we'll break into it for you and show you what you can get just cuz. And every Final Fantasy trading card deck comes with like starting manuals and stuff that'll teach you how to play, and the game is very simple to play. I won't get into it in this video, but it's pretty easy to figure out. You could just look it up online or something. So now we have them opened. These things are a real pain in the ass to open, but it's good because they're packaged really well. But we're going to start with the Heroes deck, and again, this is the Dissidia Final Fantasy Heroes deck, Heroes and Villains. So let's jump into it. Okay, and to start, we got some cool artwork of Furion from Final Fantasy II and his Dissidia Final Fantasy NT artwork. We get 3 of him. And then we have Warrior of Light from Final Fantasy I again and his Dissidia Final Fantasy artwork, which looks really cool. And then we have a beloved character from Final Fantasy IX, Vivi. And that artwork is really awesome. Okay, and then we have Lunith from Final Fantasy III. And that is some interesting artwork as well. We have Red Mage from Final Fantasy III. And we have Black Mage, another Final Fantasy III card. Then we have Selphie from Final Fantasy VIII. Then we have Mutsuki from Final Fantasy Type 0. I played Type 0 and I did not remember this character at all. And then we have Brynhilder, a Final Fantasy 13 card, but I'm pretty positive that I'm not saying that name correctly. Then we have Belius the Gigas from Final Fantasy 12. And that is some interesting artwork right there. Very interesting. Okay, and then we have the main character of Final Fantasy IV, Cecil, or Cecil, however you want to say it. We get 3 of him. And then we have Ishtola from Final Fantasy XIV, and it's her Dissidia Final Fantasy artwork. Alright, and then we have Izana, or Isana, from Type 0. I think this character appears in the beginning of the game, but again, not one of the characters you really care about in Final Fantasy Type 0. But still pretty cool artwork. Okay, and then we have Arc from Final Fantasy III. Another Chocobo card with Cloud chilling on top. And then a Final Fantasy Tactics style Chocobo. Looks really cool. And then we have a Fat Chocobo special card, I guess. That's what it says, not from any game in particular. We have another we have an Archer from Final Fantasy Tactics. Then we have Echo from Mobius Final Fantasy, one of the stranger Final Fantasy games. We have Diablos from Final Fantasy VIII. We have Wool from Mobius Final Fantasy, and that is a really cool looking card. So yeah, we're done with that one. So let's move that out of the way, and now we can break into the Villains cards. So let's do it. So first off, we have the Emperor from Final Fantasy II, and again, that's his Dissidia Final Fantasy artwork. So you get three of him. You got quite a few. They're kind of stuck together because they just came out of the box. And then we have Ultimisia. I always say this wrong, but Final Fantasy VIII main antagonist, and her artwork is also from Dissidia, as you can probably tell. This is a cool one. We have Genesis from Final Fantasy VII, or Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, the prequel. Definitely a weird character, but still cool. And then we have Kater Bashdar from Final Fantasy Type 0. I also remember this character pretty vaguely. Kind of surprised we didn't get any of the main class members in the deck. And then we have Devout, Final Fantasy 3. Oh, and we got two of him. They were stuck together. And then we have Dr. Sid, and that is from Final Fantasy 12. We have Arcanist from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2. I'm just going to go with Advanced now. I know I was saying Adventure before, but I'm pretty sure now it's Advanced, and I'm stupid, so. Then we have Glacia Labolas, and that is Mobius Final Fantasy. That is some creepy looking artwork. Let me get that. Let me get that in the shot, because that's terrifying. And you got two of him, three of him, a lot of him, more than you probably need. And then we have Shiva, Dissidia Final Fantasy style, and she's really cool in that game. You got two of her. And then I'm going to try my best to say this, Miltesi Coral, and that's Final Fantasy Type 0. I played a lot of Type 0, and I'm honestly kind of shocked how much of this I don't remember. Maybe that's saying something, but I actually like that game. Okay, and then we have Garland, Final Fantasy I antagonist, and obviously his Dissidia artwork. He looks really, really cool. Okay, and then we have Golbez, the main antagonist of Final Fantasy IV, and he's got some cool artwork as well. Dissidia Final Fantasy based. And then we have Amon. That is Final Fantasy XIV, I believe. We got three of him. Oop, stuck together. Okay, and then we have Safer, sorry. And that's his Dissidia Final Fantasy mobile game artwork. I think it's Opera Omnia, but he's from Final Fantasy VIII. Very cool character. Okay, then we have our Red Mage from Final Fantasy III. Then we have Duke Galtana, Final Fantasy Tactics. Dude looks like a walrus. We have a Cannoneer from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2. We have Edia from Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy. Then we have Seymour from Final Fantasy X. We have Odin from Final Fantasy Tactics. And that is really cool artwork as well. We have Shadow Lord. This is Final Fantasy XI. I never played 11, but this is also very cool artwork. And yeah, guys, that is pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. So I hope you got a good taste of kind of what you can expect if you buy some Final Fantasy trading cards. Again, if you want to collect, it's obviously very easy to do so, but if you want to learn how to play, it's also very easy to do so. Every starter deck comes with a guidebook and a playing mat, so you can learn how to play pretty easily. There's also plenty of tutorials on YouTube, so definitely check it out, and head over to DualShockers.com for more Final Fantasy coverage. Thanks so much for watching, guys.